right, welcome to distance learning of using the identities to verify expressions here. So, hooray, we love verifying identities. These work the same way as any other verification that you've done in the past, except for anytime you have a half angle identity, I would almost always start on that side. Because if you recall, those identities are a little bit messier. They have all these roots involved. So the quicker you can get rid of those roots, the better. Otherwise, you have to introduce a root here, and nobody really wants to do that. So if I were to go ahead and do this, so sine half angle. So looking at my identity sheet, this is going to be plus or minus 1 minus cosine x all over 2 and the square root of that. Oh, and it's squared because of the square here. So we know a square makes everything positive. We know a square also cancels a root. So really what I have at this step would be 2 times 1 minus cosine x over 2. So if we put this over 1, we know, hey, look, our 2's can cancel. So we'd be left with 1 minus cosine x, excuse me while I move this, over 1. All right, we don't want it over 1 though. We want it to be over 1 plus cosine x. So the nice thing about there being a 1 on the bottom is I can actually just multiply by this to top and bottom. So I'm going to take this side right here and go, all right, let's take it times the thing I need down there, then it's there. So right now on the bottom, I have 1 plus cosine x. On the top, I do need to FOIL this out. If you remember your difference of squares, this is a very easy FOIL. It ends up being 1 minus cosine squared of x. Sorry. All right, so right there, we're still not quite at that point yet. What we need that to turn into, like I showed earlier, is sine squared over 1 plus cosine x. We've got the over 1 plus cosine x, but now we need the sine squared. But if you recall from our identities up here, this Pythagorean identity, that sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. That's pretty much what this is. We know that if 1 is sine squared x plus cosine squared x, and then we have minus cosine squared x, these two things go away, and look what's left on top. So that equals, and I'm kind of out of space here, so I'm going to come over here. This equals sine squared x over 1 plus cosine x. Does that match our top side now? Yes, it does. So our identity is complete. So we've completed our entire identity in a few steps here. Almost too big for us to see it all. So maybe just remember those rules of identities. Start with the more complicated side and try to simplify it down. You can do this using any of those properties of algebra as well as your trig identities.